11 in the AM, not in the PM. Talking about measurement now. Where does this fit in? It fits in this home stuff. Good. Okay, good enough. Imperial system and stuff. I'm going to slam through a bunch of this stuff. Area, perimeter, pi, area of a circle and stuff. So, word-wise, area. You guys calculated area, right? Like for a square, it's just the side times side. For a rectangle, it's base times height or times width. Those ones you should know off the top of your head. And it really means the amount of, if you had it on grid paper, the amount of square centimeters you could fit in there, little squares. Right? So we'll talk more about it. And conversions, nowadays, I rarely do conversions by hand because I just Google it up. How many centimeters in an inch and stuff like this. I do know these things, but I want you to understand the math behind it. So diameter is the full longest line you can fit inside a circle. Imperial system. That's what old people like me use, feet and inches, pounds. You guys, what do you, if you're going to measure something, Dre, you talk about inches or centimeters, though? You guys are young. You don't measure things. If I ask you how tall you are you going to tell me in centimeters or feet and inches? So you use a bit, but you guys are more centimeter-y than I am. You're more metric system. I grew up and it was in school when we were changing over. But pretty well everyone, if I ask you how much you weigh, Kyle, what would you say? I don't need the answer, but now. Would you say in pounds or kilograms? Pounds? That's still pretty common. Why do we use the imperial system? It sucks. Everything in the metric system was by 10, 100, 1,000. So it's way easier to remember because everything's the same. Like the same conversions. Kilograms to grams is the same as kilometers to meters. Well, why do you guys think we still use pounds and inches and feet and stuff? You know anything about it? No? Okay, you're not in this. Okay. Oh, you looked up and so I thought maybe you had a good answer. Partly what we've known, but I'll tell you this, metric system is, you guys did not grow up using, like, you guys could be 100% metric. And there are old people like me and people older than me that hang on to feet and inches and miles and stuff. And when I see a length, I usually estimate feet. That's the way I grew up. And then I convert it back, and I'm a math guy, and I convert back to meters if I need to. Here's a good question. Liam, if I ask you to estimate the distance between you and this wall, are you going to do it? Can you estimate it? How long is it? You and that wall. No. Feet. So you're thinking feet too. That's what I do. It's not a bad estimate. Okay. Anyways, we're just doing metric system and stuff like this. Okay. You're old school too. The reason why, though, is the United States is the only country, there's one other country, it's small, Liberia or something like this, the only country in the world that officially uses the imperial system. Everywhere else is metric, and it's way easier to use metric. However, because we do we're neighbors with the States, the TV we watch is from the States mainly. You ever watch Canadian shows? They suck. The shows that we watch, what's a good Canadian show other than Trailer Park Boys, and that's 30 years ago. Just kidding. Anyways, that's not even that great. Is there a good Canadian show that you watch? Everything's American. Like the shows that are on Canadian channels that are good are American shows. What's a good Canadian show? Okay, but just name one that you like. Corner Gas is gone. Like it's old. Same with Schitt's Creek. They don't make them anymore. Gosh, if I want to do that, just hang out at the 7-Eleven. Like, I don't need to watch that. I'm telling you, Canadian TV sucks. Even our news, most of it's American stuff, anyways. Okay, I'm just arguing for argument's sake. The fact is that we still use the imperial system a lot because the Americans do. Okay, there's other words on this list, anyways. I went on and on about imperial system. We use it, and it's probably not going to go away too quickly. But the quicker it does, the easier your life becomes. Pi, perimeter, first of all, is the distance around a shape. But we have a special word for the perimeter of a circle. We call it the circumference. Pi is the ratio of a circle's circumference to the diameter. Well, you need it in formulas. 3.14159 we usually use a symbol for pi. It's the Greek letter. And it's built into circle formulas and other things too in there. Quadrilateral, quad, four-sided shape. Radius is half of the diameter, and it's the distance from the center of the circle to the edge. The referent, that's approximately a unit of measurement. I wouldn't worry about that word. System International, SI, is the metric system. And we just call it metric. Yes. Okay, re-recording here. Measurement history. Now, old school and stuff like this, back in the Egyptian times. Well, you can see there's problems here, but a cubit, there's a distance from an elbow to the tip of your middle finger. Okay, what's the problem with that? The distance from my elbow to the tip of the middle finger is different than yours and stuff like this. But still, ballpark would give you a good idea. A digit is the width of a finger, that makes sense, and a palm is the width of a hand. Yeah. And you think about, where do you think a foot came from? Length of a foot, right? You know, and stuff like this. But anyways, but everybody's feet is different. But you can still estimate if you walk toe to toe and have a good estimate of how many feet something is. So it makes sense why they did that. But in hindsight, the systems could have been different. But that's a good start. An inch is the width of a thumb, approximately. And you can use that to approximate things. If you remember, there's a foot, a human foot. A yard is the tip of the person's nose to the end of their middle finger and the outstretched arm. You can see there's a problem with that. A yard is just a little bit shorter than a meter. See what I mean here? 36 inches a yard, and that's about right. So, anyways, fathom. That's generally about 6 feet-ish, or whatever, because that's your outstretched arm, fingertip to fingertip. But the thing is, for a smaller person, it'll be 5 feet. Anyways, that gives you some ideas. Nobody uses fathom, so well, some sailor or something like this. Now, I'm not going to get you to pick any two words here. We've talked about these words, though. Ask your teacher how to follow. Measure the height and width of these items in centimeters and then in inches. Okay. Pop can, I'm going to just double check that I have one. Yep. Don't use the big iced tea one, just a regular pop can, like Pepsi can. There's the height and the width of these items. Okay. So pop can, and if you need to use that centimeter ruler or else this, the inches part, take a look at one of these meters size inches on the back. We don't have as many. There's a few. I can see one with inches in the corner there. Yep. Measure your phone if you have one. You don't. I mean, just so you kind of get an idea of what centimeters are about. Then you're going to skip this page because I'm expecting you to use calculators. Okay. That's page 10. Page 9 on the book. Yes. Okay, systems of measurement. Two systems are used: the SI, the metric system, and the imperial. Nowadays, I still think in Fahrenheit a little bit. You guys, that's American, eh? Okay. But you guys probably always talk temperature in Celsius now, right? You hear old people talk about it, it's 100 Fahrenheit, like 100 degrees and stuff. Anyways, but in football, they've just mentioned here, things are still in yards because they're not going to change the traditions of football and stuff. Exploring imperial membership measurement. I'm not going to get you to do this with knowing your partner's hands and stuff like this. Scratch those, okay? We talked about it. You get an idea, thumb width, inch, stuff like that. Oh, that was 11. Okay. So I'm going to get you to scratch that chart now on 12. I will get you to measure something. Yeah. It's 12. Just because we're a small group, we're not going to have to. But here, we're going to fill this in together. Page 13. Okay? So, 1 foot. You guys know how many inches in a foot? How many? 12 inches. That most people know. 1 yard. You guys know how many feet in a yard? A yardstick? 3. Yeah, you're right. So if it's 3 feet, that's 36 inches. You know what? Somehow I still remember that it's 1760 yards to a mile. I actually have to do the calculation. So I will 1760 times 3. Once I see it, I remember, oh yeah, 5280, 5,200. I want to just take a look here. I forget the mile thing. Now, I'll tell you this. What's that? Which one? 5,280, 5280. I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to make you memorize these. This will be on a test. Okay? And this is exactly why the metric system is better. Because I can remember stuff in the metric system. So all you need to know is 10, 100,000. Everything's done in groups of 10. Like 1 foot is 12 inches. You know how many millimeters to a centimeter? How many of these little guys in here in this centimeter? Counted them? Metric system. Take a wild guess. 10. It's easy. 10. Oh, it's either 10, 100. Okay. Centimeters. How many centimeters in a meter? This is a meter stick. How many centimeters are on here? Cent. If you don't remember, think of this. There's a reason why they're using cent to meters. How many years in a century? 100. How many cents in a dollar? 100. How many centimeters in a meter? 100. The metric system's way easier. It's not this stupid 12 inches, 36 inches to a yard, 5,282. You know how many kilometers or how many meters in a kilometer? 1,000. Kilo. You know how many grams in a kilogram? 1,000. Okay, so the metric system's way better. You don't have to like memorize all these things that you're going to forget. Have you ever seen the double tick marks for inches? I'm just pointing at it on the screen here. right? People will say inches with a little, and foot is one tick mark. MI for miles, YD for yards. Okay? Use MI for miles, not M, because that'll mean meters if you do just M. Okay, conversions. They show their conversions differently than I do. I ask you to do these same conversions with me, and you're going to do it my way because then there's less math thinking. Everybody knows how to set up if you have two fractions, it's cross multiplying alone, right? All I'm going to do is, using the facts that we scrolled up, convert 6 feet to how many inches? I'm 6 feet tall. So how tall am I? I know the answer is 72. It says like that. But here's what I do. I say that there is 12 inches to 1 foot. I'm making a fraction system. Where do I get that if I forget? It's at the top here, right? 12 inches, 1 foot. I put one fact down for that. And I want 6 feet 2 inches. So in my fraction system, if I have feet on the bottom of the left side, I put 6 feet here, and this is my x. How do I solve that? Cross multiply the diagonal. 12 times 6, divide by 1. Divide by the loner. Cross multiply, divide by the loner, right? 12 times 6 divided by 1 gives you 72. Then 5 yards to inches. Well, good grade. I would look at the chart. I say yards to inches. Well, there is 36 inches in a 1 yard. I want to know what 5 yards are, so I match if it's on the bottom of one side, it's on the bottom here. And I go cross multiply, 36 times 5 divided by 1. Guess what? You'll get that 180. I want you guys to be able to set them up as fractions. That way, the math, you never think of doing multiply or divide. Instead of fractions. I tell you, it works for everything. Even converting U.S. money to Canadian money is different. Convert 2.5 miles to feet. I don't know why you never need to do that. Oh my God, look at their direction. Multiply 2.5 times 60, so oh my God, get that answer. Then multiply by 3. That's a mess. We need a fraction system. Miles to feet. So I'm going to use FT, which you see sometimes for feet, instead of the single tick one. 1 mile. Well, 1 mile, I'm going to look it up again. It's 5,280 feet. I want 2.5 miles, so that's on the bottom. I said that. And guess what? Cross multiply, divide by the loner, and it will give you 13,200 feet. Just trust me, guys. This is way easier than their example calculation that they pause, then I'll get, got that example down, Jay? Try using that method when you're doing these things. Now, later on, look at all of this. The millimeters and centimeters and stuff, way easier. And you can make those, every one of those can go into a fraction. So these are easy. These, not so much. Like, you'll have a sheet here, so it's fine in my classroom. But then going from metric to imperial, look those up. You'll never have to memorize those. Okay? Okay. Often helpful. Oh, they're doing it my way now. Setting up a ratio. Cross multiply, divide by the loner. I don't need you to show all this in between work. Because we just memorize the phrase of pace. Cross multiply, divide by the loner, and you just set it up, get the answer. How many feet? 4.9 meters. Well, you look this up. They set it up a little differently than I did, so I'm going to go like this. 80 meters. I'm going to go, well, there's 3.2808, and I look it up on feet for 1 meter. Now, if I have meters on the bottom, put meters on the bottom of the other side. I could have put meters on the top. Cross multiply, divide by the loader. And it gets you the right answer. You can round off things. Don't be ridiculous and have 17 decimal places. Just to show you, that's the way I set it up. It all works. The other way works too, but let's stick to one system. All right. Then next, you're going to convert these. You're going to make fraction systems, 42 inches to feet, 16 inches to feet, and inches. That is a tricky son of a gun. Number two, I'm going to do with you, right? The other ones are straight ahead, just calculation. Is this silly? It's not silly. You got to figure out feet and inches. It's already in inches, 16 inches. You got to remember there's 12 inches to 1 foot. So you think, how many groups of 12 go into 16? Now, this one's easy enough, I could do it in my head. But I would go, in my calculator, I'd go 16 divided by 12 to see. I'm going to get 1 point, I don't even care what the decimal is, it's 1.4. No, that's 4 inches out of 12. You get 1.25. And you calculate this. You're going to get a decimal. I know what you're saying, but there's 4 inches left. I'm showing you a method where you couldn't do it in your pen. Like if I say 322 inches or something, 16 divided by 12 gives you 1. Oh, I said 2.5. See, I was wrong too. Yeah, right. 1.32 meters. This tells me I have 1 full foot. So I have 1 foot, and then I do the arithmetic in my head for this one right here, but I would actually take them. There's one group of 12, so I go 16 minus 12, which is equal to 4 inches, which you knew right away, teacher. 1 foot, 4 inches. I was being silly. I said 2.5. Okay. The other ones, though, are pretty straight ahead. They're just fraction ratios. And I'm just scanning them all. This one, go to inches first. Then to yards. Do that. Okay. I'm going to stop recording here. Right now, you should be able to get to the 18th page. Wow. This one's actually a longer section than the other ones. It's actually more mathematical. You guys should be able to